Have you ever looked in the mirror and felt like something was off? Not wrong enough to panic, not obvious enough to explain, just slightly different. The way your face looks, the way your eyes move, the way your reflection reacts. Most people think mirrors are simple. They copy you exactly, perfectly, without delay, without error. But what if they don't? What if one day your reflection moves before you do? Or worse, what if it doesn't stop when you do? My chest tightens when I think about it, because mirrors don't show reality. They repeat it. And if something breaks that pattern, it means something else is controlling it. Tonight, you're going to hear 3 stories, different people, different places, but all of them made the same mistake. They kept looking. And in that moment, something started looking back. It was late. The kind of late where everything feels quieter than it should. My chest tightens when I think about it, because night changes familiar places, even your own home. Ethan stood in front of the bathroom mirror, brushing his teeth. Nothing unusual. Same routine, same movements. The light above the mirror flickered slightly, then stabilized. He didn't think much of it, because small things like that happen, especially at night. But something felt off. Not in the room, not in the mirror, in the timing. Like his reflection was slightly delayed, or maybe slightly ahead. He paused for a second, watching himself, trying to understand what felt wrong. Then he moved again, slowly this time, carefully, just to test it. And in that moment, something became undeniable. The mirror wasn't just reflecting him, it was reacting to him. He lifted his hand, slow, deliberate, watching closely. My chest tightens when I think about it, because this is where everything breaks. For a split second, barely noticeable, the reflection moved first, not after him, not with him, before. His chest tightened instantly, because that's not possible. Not even slightly, not even by accident. He froze, hand still in the air, trying to process what he just saw. And then the reflection matched him perfectly, like nothing happened, like it corrected itself. And that's what made it worse, because mistakes don't fix themselves that cleanly. He lowered his hand, slowly, carefully, and again, for just a moment, the reflection reacted first. Same movement, same timing, too precise to ignore. And in that moment, something became undeniable. It wasn't a delay. It wasn't a glitch. It was anticipating him. He didn't step away, didn't turn off the light. My chest tightens when I think about it, because once something feels wrong, you don't leave. You test it. You try to prove yourself wrong. Ethan stared at his reflection, completely still, not blinking, not moving, just watching, waiting. Seconds passed. Nothing happened. Everything looked normal again, and that's the trap. Because normal makes you relax, makes you doubt what you saw. He exhaled slightly, then, without warning, he moved his head to the side. Quick, sharp, and for a fraction of a second, the reflection didn't follow. It stayed still, then snapped into place, matching him again. Perfect. Too perfect. His chest tightened harder, because now it wasn't random. It was inconsistent, controlled, like something choosing when to match him and when not to. something became undeniable. It wasn't broken. It was deciding how to behave. He leaned closer to the mirror, slowly, carefully. My chest tightens when I think about it, because distance gives you control. But the closer you get, the harder it is to ignore what you see. His reflection leaned in too. Same movement, same timing. For a moment, everything felt normal again. Then, something changed. Not his face, not his position, his eyes. He was looking at his own reflection, but the reflection wasn't looking back the same way. It wasn't following his gaze. It was fixed, locked directly onto him, not where he was looking, but at him, like it knew where he actually was. His chest tightened instantly, because reflections don't do that. They don't choose where to look. They copy. Exactly. But this didn't. It held eye contact, even when he shifted slightly, even when he tried to break it. And in that moment, something became undeniable. It wasn't reflecting his gaze. It was watching him. He pulled back, just a little, trying to create space. My chest tightens when I think about it, because distance should reset things, make them normal again, break the tension. But it didn't. The reflection stayed close, for a second longer than it should have, not matching him immediately, not correcting itself right away, just holding that position. Then it moved, slowly, back into place, matching him again. Perfect, but too late. That delay, even a fraction, was enough, because reflections don't hesitate. They don't choose when to move. They don't wait. His chest tightened harder, because now it wasn't just moving differently. It was controlling the timing, choosing when to follow and when not to. He stepped back again, more this time. And for a brief moment, the reflection stayed where it was, closer than him. And in that moment, something became undeniable. It didn't stop when he did. It continued. He stepped back again, further this time, creating distance. My chest tightens when I think about it, because distance should fix everything. It should reset the reflection, force it to match him. But it didn't. For a second, everything aligned. Same posture, same position, normal. Then it happened. The reflection moved without him. Just a slight motion, barely noticeable, but real. His chest tightened instantly, because he hadn't moved, not even slightly. Not enough to cause it. But the reflection did. Its head tilted, just a little, like it was studying him, like it was trying to understand something. Ethan froze, completely. Because now, this wasn't a delay. This wasn't a glitch. This wasn't timing. This was independence. And in that moment, something became undeniable. It wasn't following him anymore. It was acting on its own. He didn't move, didn't blink, didn't even breathe properly. My chest tightens when I think about it, because now any movement could confirm it, make it real. The reflection stood there, perfectly still, matching him again, like nothing had happened. And that's what made it worse. Because normal behavior after something like that feels wrong, unnatural. Then it happened. Not a big movement, not something obvious, just a small change. His reflection smiled, slowly, subtly, The kind of smile you don't notice right away, except he didn't smile. His face stayed completely still, frozen. But the reflection continued, holding that expression, letting it settle, letting it be seen. His chest tightened violently, because that breaks everything. That's not delay. That's not timing. That's intention. And in that moment, something became undeniable. It wasn't copying him. It was showing him what it could do. He stepped back, fast this time. Instinct. My chest tightens when I think about it. Because once something proves it can act on its own, everything changes. Distance didn't help. The reflection didn't follow. It didn't need to. It stayed exactly where it was, closer, watching him from inside the mirror. That same smile still on its face, not wider, not changing, just there, like it had already decided something. Ethan shook his head slightly, almost without thinking, trying to break it, trying to reset it, trying to force reality back into place. But it didn't work, because the reflection didn't correct itself, didn't snap back, didn't match him again. It just stood there, looking at him, not as a copy, not as a reflection, but as something separate, something aware. His chest tightened harder than before, because now it didn't matter what he did. And in that moment, something became undeniable. It didn't need him anymore to exist. It didn't start with the mirror. It started with a feeling. My chest tightens when I think about it, because that's how it always begins. Not with something you see, something you feel. Lena lived alone. Small apartment, quiet building, nothing unusual, at least on the surface. But at night, something felt wrong. Not loud, not obvious. Just watched. Like there was a presence in the room, not moving, not making noise. Just there. She would sit on her bed and feel it. That strange pressure. Like eyes on her. Even when she was alone. Even when everything was still. Her chest tightened every time it happened. Because instinct doesn't lie. It reacts to something real, even when you can't see it. And in that moment, something became undeniable. She wasn't imagining it. Something was watching her. She didn't notice it at first, not consciously. My chest tightens when I think about it, because your brain protects you by ignoring things that don't make sense. The mirror stood across the room, tall, simple, nothing unusual. It had always been there, or at least that's what she thought. Lena sat on the bed, looking around, trying to understand that feeling again, that pressure, that sense of being watched. Her eyes moved slowly from the door to the window, to the corner of the room, and then to the mirror. She stopped, just for a second. Something about it felt different, not wrong, not obviously, just present. Like it wasn't just reflecting the room, like it was part of it. Her chest tightened, because the feeling, the one she couldn't explain, got stronger. The moment she looked at it, and in that moment, something became undeniable. The mirror wasn't just in the room. It was the source of the feeling. She turned away from it, quickly, like breaking eye contact would help. My chest tightens when I think about it, because that's instinct. If something feels wrong, you stop looking at it. But the feeling didn't go away. It got stronger. sharper, like something didn't like being ignored. Lena stood up from the bed, facing the opposite wall now, trying to calm herself, trying to think rationally. But something made her stop. A reflection, not in front of her, but in the corner of her eye. A glimpse, small, almost nothing. She shouldn't have looked, but she did, slowly turning her head back toward the mirror. Her chest tightened instantly, because in the reflection, she saw herself standing, facing away, just like she was, except the reflection wasn't still. It was looking at her directly. And in that moment, something became undeniable. Even when she wasn't looking at it, it was still looking at her. She stepped sideways, slow, careful. My chest tightens when I think about it, because testing something like that means you already believe it might be real. Her reflection moved with her, perfectly. Same timing, same distance, normal. She exhaled slightly, relief. Maybe it was nothing. Maybe she imagined it. Then she stopped, completely, holding her position, watching, waiting. And for a second, everything matched. Everything felt normal again. Then the reflection moved, just slightly. A small shift in posture, barely noticeable. But she hadn't moved, not at all. Her chest tightened instantly, because now there was no doubt, no confusion, no explanation. This wasn't a trick of the eye. This wasn't lighting. This wasn't imagination. And in that moment, something became undeniable. It wasn't reacting to her anymore. It was choosing when to move. She didn't move, didn't even blink. My chest tightens when I think about it, because now any reaction could make it worse. The reflection stood there, facing her, still, but not empty, not passive, present, like it was waiting. Lena swallowed, slowly, trying to keep control. Then she raised her hand, just a little, carefully, testing it again. The reflection followed, perfect. For a moment, everything felt normal. Then it stopped, halfway through the motion, holding its hand in the air. But she had already lowered hers. Her chest tightened violently, because it wasn't just moving differently, it was reacting to her, but not in sync, like it understood what she was doing and chose how to respond, not copying, not mirroring, answering. And in that moment, something became undeniable. It wasn't just watching her anymore. It was interacting with her. She stepped back, fast, instinct. My chest tightens when I think about it. Because once something starts reacting, you don't test it anymore. You try to stop it. Lena grabbed the nearest thing she could find. A blanket. Thin. Light. But enough. She didn't hesitate. Didn't think. Just moved, throwing it over the mirror, covering it completely. The surface disappeared. The reflection gone. Just fabric now. Still. Silent. Her chest rose and fell quickly. Breathing uneven. Trying to calm down. Trying to convince herself it was over. That whatever was happening was contained. Hidden. Gone. Seconds passed. Nothing moved. No sound. No shift. And that's when she almost relaxed. Almost believed it worked. Then something changed. Not in the room. In the fabric. A slight movement from underneath. And in that moment, something became undeniable. Covering the mirror didn't stop it. The fabric shifted again, subtly, But unmistakably, my chest tightens when I think about it, because nothing should move under something that isn't alive. The blanket hung loosely over the mirror, still covering it completely. No gaps, no openings, nothing that could explain movement. And yet, it moved. Not like something pushing outward, not like pressure, more like something inside adjusting, repositioning, like it wasn't trapped, just temporarily hidden. Lena stepped back further, her chest tightening with every second, because now there was no reflection, no image, no visible presence, but the feeling was stronger, worse, because now she couldn't see it, but she knew it was still there, and that changes everything, because fear you can see is manageable. Fear you can't see isn't. The fabric shifted one more time, then stopped, completely still again. And in that moment, something became undeniable. It didn't need the mirror to exist. She didn't look at the mirror. Not anymore. My chest tightens when I think about it. Because once something moves like that, you stop checking it. You try to ignore it. Pretend it's contained. But the feeling didn't go away. It shifted from the mirror to behind her. Slow, subtle, but real. Lena stood frozen, facing away from it, trying not to move, trying not to react. Because now, it didn't feel like it was inside the mirror anymore. It felt closer, in the room, with her. Her chest tightened harder, because that breaks the last rule, the boundary, the separation. She shouldn't have turned, but she did, slowly, carefully, and the mirror was still covered. The fabric hadn't moved, nothing had changed, except one thing. The feeling behind her didn't disappear. And in that moment, something became undeniable. Whatever was in the mirror was no longer inside it. She turned fully, slow, careful. My chest tightens when I think about it. Because once you decide to look, you can't undo it. The room looked the same. Bed, walls, door, everything in place. Nothing moved, nothing visible. But the feeling didn't leave. It stayed right there. Close. Too close. Lena's chest tightened harder, because now she understood something. Seeing it wasn't required. It didn't need to show itself. It was enough that she felt it, that she knew it was there. And that changes everything. Because once you know, you can't go back. She took a step backward, slow, measured, trying to create distance. But the feeling followed, perfectly, matching her, just like a reflection would. And in that moment, something became undeniable. She didn't lose sight of it. She lost the ability to be alone. She moved to the door, fast this time. Instinct taking over. My chest tightens when I think about it. Because once something crosses that line, staying isn't an option anymore. She grabbed the handle, pulled it open, stepped into the hallway. Light, space, air, normal. Everything looked normal. For a second, she almost believed it was over. Then she saw it. Not in front of her, not behind her. And the reflection of the glass on the door, faint, but clear enough. Her own shape, standing in the hallway, exactly where she was, except it didn't move when she did. It stood still, watching from the reflection, even though she had already left the room. Her chest tightened violently, because now Distance didn't matter. Location didn't matter. And in that moment, something became undeniable. Leaving the mirror didn't mean leaving it behind. He didn't stay. Not after what he saw. My chest tightens when I think about it, because sometimes leaving feels like the only option, the safest one. Marcus walked past the mirror, not looking at it, not even glancing, because after that moment, he didn't trust what he might see. The room felt normal, everything in place, nothing out of order. And that's what made it easier. Easier to pretend it was over. Just a strange moment, a trick of the mind, something he could ignore. He stepped into the hallway, then into another room, further away, creating distance, putting space between himself and the mirror. And for a moment, it worked. The feeling was gone. The pressure disappeared. The silence felt normal again. And in that moment, something became undeniable. Leaving the mirror felt like leaving the problem behind. He slowed down, just slightly. My chest tightens when I think about it, because the moment you start to relax is when it comes back. Marcus stepped into the kitchen. Bright light, clear space, no shadows, no reflections in front of him. Nothing that could trigger that feeling again. He exhaled, shoulders dropping a little, tension fading. Then he noticed something. A surface, small, unimportant. The dark screen of his phone lying on the table. He didn't want to look. He knew that. But something pulled his attention, just for a second, just a glance, and that was enough. His chest tightened instantly, because in the reflection, he saw himself standing there, exactly as he was, except the reflection didn't match him, not fully. It was still watching, even as he shifted slightly. And in that moment, something became undeniable. It didn't stay in the mirror. It followed him into anything that could reflect. He looked away immediately, fast, too fast. My chest tightens when I think about it, because once you see something like that, you don't want confirmation. You want denial. He stepped back from the table, trying to create distance, trying to break the line of sight, trying to convince himself. He imagined it. Then something made him look again. Not logic, not curiosity. Something deeper, like a pull, a need to check, just once more. He glanced at the phone. Quick, sharp. And this time, it wasn't still. The reflection moved, not following him, not matching him, moving on its own. A slight shift, a tilt, like it adjusted its position to keep looking at him. His chest tightened violently because now there was no delay, no inconsistency, no doubt. And in that moment, something became undeniable. It wasn't trying to copy him anymore. It was trying to keep him in sight. He stepped away from the phone. Further. Faster this time. My chest tightens when I think about it, because once something follows you, distance stops meaning anything. Marcus turned toward the sink, avoiding the table, avoiding the phone, avoiding anything that could reflect him. But that's impossible, because reflections are everywhere. The metal of the faucet, the glass of the cabinet, even the faint shine of the countertop. He tried not to look, but his eyes caught something anyway. A glimpse, small, unavoidable, and there it was again. His shape, his outline, standing exactly where he was, but not behaving the same. not sinking, not matching, watching every surface, every angle, every reflection. It didn't matter how small, it was there, consistent, present. His chest tightened harder, because now it wasn't limited to one place. It wasn't contained. And in that moment, something became undeniable. It wasn't in the mirror. It was in every reflection he couldn't avoid. He tried to stay still, completely. My chest tightens when I think about it. Because if it copies you, maybe you can control it. Maybe you can limit it. Marcus stood in place, not moving, and not reacting, watching nothing, avoiding everything. Then he shifted slightly, just a small movement, testing. And this time, the reflections followed, but not correctly, not perfectly. Something was off. The timing, the angle, the movement itself, like it understood the idea, but not the execution. His chest tightened harder, because that's worse, much worse. Because mistakes mean learning, adjusting, improving. He moved again, slow, careful, and again. The reflection copied him, but slightly better this time. Closer, more accurate, more natural. And in that moment, something became undeniable. It wasn't just following him anymore. It was learning how to be him. He stopped moving completely. My chest tightens when I think about it, because now every movement mattered. Marcus stood still, watching nothing, avoiding every reflective surface he could. But the feeling didn't go away. It stayed, heavy, close. Then he made the smallest movement, a shift of his head, barely noticeable, and somewhere in a reflection he didn't even mean to look at. It happened again. The reflection followed, perfectly this time. No delay, no mistaking, no difference. Exactly like him. His chest tightened violently, because something changed. Before, it was wrong. Then, it was close. Now, it was right. Too right. And that's the problem. Because once something copies you perfectly, you can't tell the difference anymore. You can't prove which one is real. And in that moment, something became undeniable. It didn't need to learn anymore. It was ready. He looked down, and then away, then back again. My chest tightens when I think about it. Because now, checking doesn't help. It makes it worse. Every surface showed the same thing. His body, his posture, his movements, all correct, all identical. Too identical. Marcus moved his hand slowly, watching carefully, trying to catch it, trying to find a mistake, a delay, anything. But there was nothing. The reflection moved with him, exactly, perfectly. No difference, no flaw. His chest tightened harder, because now there was no way to prove it. No way to tell which one was right, which one was real, which one belonged. He stepped back, breathing uneven, trying to ground himself, trying to hold on to something stable. But nothing felt stable anymore. And in that moment, something became undeniable. If it can copy you perfectly, there's no way to know which one of you is real. He stopped testing, stopped checking. My chest tightens when I think about it. Because once you lose certainty, you stop looking for answers. You just try to survive the moment. Marcus stood still, breathing uneven, avoiding every surface, trying not to see himself, trying not to think. Then something broke, not outside, inside. A hesitation, a gap, A moment where his mind lost control, and that was enough. Because somewhere, in one of the reflections, it moved. First, not copying him, not reacting, acting. A small step, barely noticeable, but real. His chest tightened violently because he didn't move, not even slightly. And yet, it did. And in that moment, something became undeniable. It didn't need to follow him anymore. It could move on its own. He backed away, slow, unsteady. My chest tightens when I think about it, because now, distance doesn't create safety. It creates space, and space gives it room. Marcus turned toward the hallway, trying to leave, trying to escape every reflective surface, sure, every angle, every possible view. Then he saw it. Not in front of him, not clearly, but enough. A shape where there shouldn't be one. A movement, not tied to any surface, not bound to glass, not limited by angles. His chest tightened harder, because that breaks the last rule. Reflections need something to exist. A surface, a boundary, a limitation. But this didn't. It wasn't inside the mirror anymore. It wasn't in the reflection. It was here, in the space, with him. And in that moment, something became undeniable. It didn't need the mirror to exist anymore. He froze, right there in the hallway. My chest tightens when I think about it, because sometimes you don't need a mirror to see. Marcus slowly lifted his eyes, not looking for it, just looking. And that's when it happened. At the end of the hallway, someone stood there, still, watching. Same height, same posture, same silhouette. His chest tightened violently, because he knew that shape. He knew that stance. He knew that outline. It was him, not a reflection, not a surface, not an image, standing there in the real space, separated, independent. And for the first time, it wasn't copying him. It wasn't reacting. It wasn't learning. It was just there. And in that moment, something became undeniable. He wasn't looking at himself. He was looking at something that had already learned how to be him. He stayed still, completely. My chest tightens when I think about it, because now any movement could prove something. Marcus stared at it, trying to understand, trying to hold on to reality. Then it moved, slowly, a step forward, calm, controlled. His chest tightened harder, because he didn't move, not even slightly, but it did. Again, another step, closer now, closer than it should be, closer than it had the right to be. Marcus felt his breath tighten, because now there was no mirror, no reflection, no delay, no excuse. Just two identical figures standing in the same space, and only one of them hadn't moved. And in that moment, something became undeniable. It wasn't copying him anymore. It replaced the need to. The scariest part isn't that it looks like you. It's that it learns how to be you. My chest tightens when I think about it, because it doesn't rush. It doesn't force anything. It watches, it copies, it adjusts until there's no difference left, until every movement is perfect, every reaction is correct, every detail is identical. And when that happens, you lose the only thing that separates you, identity. Because if something can replace your reflection, then your movement, then your presence, what's left that proves you're the real one? Marcus didn't run, didn't speak, didn't react, because now there was no correct move left. And in that moment, something became undeniable. It didn't need to take his place. It just needed to become indistinguishable from him. Thanks for watching. Now think about this. If your reflection moved before you or stayed when you left, would you trust it? Or would you stop looking at mirrors completely? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe, because some things don't stay on the other side.